Hello everyone. As promised, I am continuing to make icebergs about members of the band Malice Miser. Under the KAMI Iceberg video, two people I think suggested that I should do a KAMI Iceberg next. Thank you for suggesting this, but I actually had already planned to do KAMI as the second one, because I might be wrong, but I feel like KAMI is the Malice Miser member who I had talked about the least in my videos. But I'm not sure if that's true or not, that's just how I feel. Some of the entries in this iceberg were taken from my previous videos, but in every case of this I tried to add whatever additional details I could find. Thank you to Haitani, Mumblehoney, Remilia, Big Body Igor and Canary Casey for supporting me on Patreon, and let's get into the video. KAMI loved butterflies. He had 3 butterfly tattoos. He also had butterfly cutouts stuck into his bass drum. He bought everything he could find that had a butterfly on it. And he appeared with butterfly wings and butterflies covering his mouth in the music video for Au Revoir. The album cover of Malice Miser's Shinwa EP, which is dedicated to KAMI, depicts a blue morpho butterfly. KAMI was born on February 1st, 1972, in the city of Ibaraki, located in the Kanto region. Later, after finishing high school, he moved to Japan's capital city, Tokyo. Before Malice Miser, KAMI was one of the founding members of a band named Nuclear Romance. According to VKG, they formed in Tokyo in September 1992. With KAMI as their drummer, Nuclear Romance released a few demo tapes. He left the band in 1993, I will talk about his departure in more detail later. Nuclear Romance would go on to have a very successful career in the 1990s. They were signed to a major label around the same time that Malice Miser did, and some of their songs ended up being used in anime Master Keaton. And one song was also used as an ending theme for Japan Professional Football League broadcasts. They disbanded in the year 2000. Since then they had a few reunions, and since 2023 their activity is indefinitely suspended. Some people might not be aware that KAMI wasn't a founding member of Malice Miser. The band had a different drummer before him who went by the nickname Guess, and left the band on March 15th, 1993, 7 months after the band was formed. KAMI joined Malice Miser on March 17th, initially as a support drummer. In turn, Gus, Malice Miser's previous drummer, became Nuclear Romance's support drummer in KAMI's place and would become an official member of the band in June 1994. KAMI initially declined Yuki's invitation to join Malice Miser, but Mana later persuaded him to it with a phone call. KAMI passed away at his home in Kyoto on June 21st, 1999, in his sleep of subarachnoid hemorrhage, at the age of 27. His body was found 4 days later. The funeral, held on the same day, was attended only by his parents, a few close friends and Malice Miser members Mana, Koji and Yuki. Gecht, who left Malice Miser a few months prior to KAMI's death, was not invited to the funeral by the remaining members of the band, nor was he informed of KAMI's passing, as after leaving the band he cut contact with the other members and he was on tour at the time of the funeral. He found out about KAMI's death a few days later. He believed that the other members left him out intentionally, and he was really hurt by this. In retrospect, this seems like just a tragic case of miscommunication. Even if Gecht was informed about KAMI's funeral in time, there would be no way he would attend it as I said, he was on tour at the time, and the funeral took place on the same day that KAMI's body was found.
僕は神とメンバーの中で一番仲良かったから、やっぱり一番最後に喧嘩してで離れたこと今までずっと引きずってるとこあるんだよね。 まあしょっちゅういつも喧嘩してたから、でいつも必ずあいつは謝るやつじゃなかったから、僕が次の日に悪かったなって言って、でもあいつはって言いながらごめんと言わないんだよ。でもそれでずっと成り立ってたはずだったのに、最後に一番大きい喧嘩をした時にちょっとしたことだったんだけども、その謝るっていうこともお互いができなくて、でも心配はずっとしてて、で間に入ってる当時の現場のマネージャーだけはつながってたから、その彼女を通して大丈夫かとか元気でやってるかとかしっかり支えてやってほしいとか、そういうことはちょくちょくやってたんだよね。けど彼がその亡くなった時に、なんであの時に謝れなかったんだろう。やっぱその思いってずっと未だに残ってるよね。だから初めてお父さんとお母さんに会った時に、分かんないけど本当にごめんなさいって、別にそれが神に届くわけじゃないんだろうけど謝ってて、でもそんな僕を受け入れてくれて、で僕がその頑張ることをまるで自分の息子が頑張ってるように重ねて応援してくれてる。
Eternal Blood Relative is how Malice Mizer credited KAMI on releases following his death. He is still considered a member of the band. Malice Mizer never officially replaced him with a different drummer, they only brought in Shue as a support drummer for their lives. If you want to learn more about Shue and Gas, I have a video about Malice Mizer's forgotten members, that's how I titled it. KAMI's real name is said to be Ukyo Kamimura. While in Malice Mizer, he did not instantly go by KAMI, as in one early interview, Mana mentions that the band had a supporting drummer whose name is Ukyo. According to one post on the Skype forums, under one early photo, KAMI was signed as Ukyo Kojo, but the attached image has not been archived, so I can't show it to you now. However, VKG lists KAMI under the name Hiroyuki Kamimura, as this apparently was what he went by in the first band he was in. In the months prior to his death, KAMI started composing music. He practiced guitar and bought a synthesizer. He finished composing two songs, Unmei no Deai and Mori no Naka no Tenshi. Their titles translate to Meeting with Fate and Angels in the Woods. On February 1st, 2000, Malice Mizer released them on an EP titled Shinwa, accompanied by a track titled Saikai, composed by the band. An incomplete song KAMI left behind, titled Bara no Soretsu, was released on the Beast of Blood single. Gekt visits the gravesite and family home of KAMI twice a year, on KAMI's day of birth and day of death.
いつも普通にやってることだから、あいつが亡くなったのが6月で、あいつの誕生日は2月だから、年に2回寒い時と暑い時にああやって訪れてこう自分と向き合うでいろんな報告をしてるんだよね。
He has shared photos and videos of him doing so, and after fans went looking for the site themselves against the family's wishes, some blame Gekt for revealing the location. Nothing Gekt has shown can in fact be used to deduce the location unless someone lives in the vicinity of that place or was already familiar through hearsay. So it is the fans' responsibility to refrain from going there even if they know the location. KAMI, who passed away at the age of 27, is considered to be a member of the 27 Club. It is basically a list of musicians and other artists who died at the age of 27. It's a theory that there is a sort of statistical spike for the death of musicians at that age, however it has been refuted by scientific research. Other notable members of the 27 Club are, for example, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain and Amy Winehouse. Yasunori Sakurazawa, better known as Sakura, is the current drummer of Zigzo, formerly of Larkin CL. He was a friend and drum mentor for Kami. In an interview for Pearl musical instrument website, Sakura is quoted saying, "After we met, he would often come over to my house with his drumsticks in hand, asking questions like, 'How do you approach that song?' At that time our field was very athletic and I was a little older than Kami, so I have the impression that Kami, who was a junior, always acted big in front of me." He also stated that Kami was like a younger brother to him. During Malice Miser's Deep Sanctuary 6 reunion live show, Sakura took Kami's place on drums. He dyed his hair red to match Kami's hair and played a drum kit identical to Kami's. He commented that he was just, quote, "lending a physical body to Kami." Kami's most iconic drum set was the one he used since March 1998. It's also the one he can be seen playing at the Merveille L'Espace live show. On Kami's request, it was decorated with purple glitter. The choice was likely inspired by Minato, the drummer of Dead End, who Kami was a fan of. On the bass drum there were 5 butterflies and the Malice Miser logo. According to Sakura, Kami enlarged a copy of the Malice Miser logo, cut out each letter with scissors and stuck them down. The butterflies were drawn by him and also cut out and stuck down to the bass drum. Following Kami's death, his parents donated the kit to his high school. In an interview for Pearl musical instrument website, Sakura stated, "2 years ago, Koji, a member of Malice Miser, told me about the 25th anniversary event in 2018. They were going to be playing songs from Kami's time, so I volunteered, saying, 'Well, let me play drums, I will figure out how to get the purple drum set.' I have a lot of thoughts going into this live performance." Kami's purple set was only used for just under 6 months, from Malice Miser's Nippon Budokan performance on April 1st, 1998, to be precise, the Nissan Power Station performance on March 24th of that same year, to their Yokohama Arena performance on July 22nd of the same year. It has now been donated to his alma mater, so I went to pick it up for his live performance. I wanted to get as close as possible to Kami's set from back then, so I compared it with documents and memories from that time. I was conscious of making the drum set and setup completely Kami specific. On YouTube you can find a video of Sakura setting up the drum set prior to Malice Miser's live. The Sakura interview also features a drawing of how all elements of Kami's drum kit were set up. In 2018, elements of the drum kit, along with other items belonging to Kami, were displayed at the ESP Museum in Shibuya. Those other items I will talk about later. Melons were Kami's favorite food. Reportedly, Mana eats melons every year on the anniversary of Kami's passing.
メロンはありますね。
プレゼントで僕から、
あ、そうですか。
僕の好物なんですよ。
メロン。
だからあげます。
これ私の好きなんだ。
Playing tennis was Kami's favorite hobby. He started doing it in elementary school. I will mention a few more details about this later. Years later he started doing it again. In one interview he's quoted saying, "I don't go to the gym, but I play tennis about once every 2 days. I started that about 2 months ago. I play by myself using a machine against the wall. I play for about 30 to 40 minutes and work up a huge sweat. In the future I'm thinking of doing some kind of tennis special with Vicious." Kami had a big perfume collection, as could be seen in his room tour. Reportedly he had over 80 bottles of perfume, although he used only 4. One rumor spread by TikTok users was that Kami was using the Shiseido Masheri Airfield shampoo and conditioner. I couldn't find any information of it in interviews or anything like that. I only found that Kami used a perfume named Ma Cherie. The Ma Cherie shampoo was available to buy back in the 90s, but it was reportedly just a standard and boring haircare product. This changed when it was acquired by a different company in 2021. While in high school, Kami used to watch a TV program called Best Hits USA. That's when he gained a liking for bands like Duran Duran and The Culture Club. He also liked Sex Pistols and Buzzcocks. The first record he bought was Friday Night by German disco band Arabesque, which was very popular in Japan. Malice Miser members commemorated Kami in some of the songs they wrote. The first one, Saikai, was released on the Shinwa EP, which in its entirety is dedicated to Kami. A longer version of this song, Saikai no Chitobara, meaning Blood and Roses of Reunion, was released on the Bara no Seido album. The album's lyrical themes, the band's funeral aesthetic, and other imagery present throughout this era also address their grief. Especially Hakai no Hate seems to me like it's clearly written about Kami. Gecht wrote two songs for Kami, Emu for My Dear and U plus K, released on his Mars album in 2000. In 2004, Koji released a single Memento with lyrics written by Yuki. Mana stated that one song on Moi Dis Moi 2004 Nocturnal Opera album is dedicated to Kami. He did not say which song it is, but I think Monophobia is probably a good guess. As mentioned before, several items belonging to Kami were displayed at the ESP Museum in Shibuya. According to the Mana's Beautiful World is Forever blog, the showcase items were drumsticks, bags for drumsticks, his gloves and a hat. In elementary school in the 1980s, Kami was interested in traditional Japanese calligraphy. He also enjoyed using soroban, which is a Japanese abacus. When I was in elementary school, we were assigned to learn Japanese character handwriting and we had to write any 4 characters. I picked up the words Hukoku Kyohei, which means make the country prosperous and make the army strong, and I got a silver prize. I've also cheated. I hated essay assignments, and in my house I found a book, an anthology of many good essay samples, and I literally paraphrased it, wrote it down, submitted it and got a prize. He had an affection for tennis. He won second place in Ibaraki Prefecture's tennis competition, and he dated a girl from other school's tennis club. That's also the time that his passion for music started. He would often sit alone in the music room after school and listen to records, and he tried playing various instruments stored there. He was also very active during music classes. He started practicing playing drums in the 5th year of his school for its music festival. He stopped practicing but returned to it at the start of high school, when he was invited into his friend's band. He initially wanted to be a guitarist but decided to settle on drumming. He took up a part-time job to save up money for a personal drum kit. You might have seen a few of these photos floating around, but you might not be aware of where they come from. In 2024, a personal friend of Kami sold a few photos of him. They were bought by Kantavanda, who later posted them on his Twitter. That's kinda cool, but like, why would you sell private photos of your personal friend? I don't know, that seems a little weird to me. In 2018, Malice Miser started selling Kami's signature drumsticks. Kami used 110 model drumsticks manufactured by Pearl. His sticks had his autograph and Malice Miser handwritten on them. According to Sakura, he realized that Kami wanted to have signature sticks when Kami's dad showed him his original ones. Then, while talking with Kozi, they decided to manufacture them to, quote, help Kami fulfill what felt like an unfinished dream. They then digitized the writings on Kami's original sticks and recreated them. 3P Mayonnaise was the first known band that Kami was a member of. They were a punk rock band founded between 1986 and 1988. They had one demo tape titled the Monkey Punk and Roll Idol, released in 1992. They disbanded in that same year. On November 8, 1996, Malice Miser held an event at which each member formed session bands with their friends. 3P Mayonnaise performed 2 songs at that show with KAMI as the vocalist. You can find a recording of it on YouTube, uploaded by Mira Archive. Kami's real name was Ukyo Kamimura, so his stage name is just a shortened version of his real name. In Japanese, the word Kami has 3 different meanings. It can either stand for God, hair, or paper. It is generally assumed that his stage name was meant to mean God, as this is the kanji character it was written with. However, the fact that Kami was notable for his majestic hair makes some people think otherwise. Kami was reportedly a pretty emotional person. Quote, "He sometimes would suddenly be short-tempered, yet on other hand affectionate. He cried easily and was extremely sensitive. He was friendly, frequently going to see his friends' bands play live. Even after Malice Miser had gotten considerably famous, he would go to the launch of bars with a good-humored nature. On the other hand though, he sometimes, with an extremely sad expression, would give off an aura to others as to not come near him. The mask which Kami often used to use in photographs symbolized the split personality. He cried on and off stage at Malice Miser's farewell live with Tetsu. Quote, "Months after Memoir had been released, their former vocalist had decided to leave due to differences in what the band's direction should be. At their last live performance, the feeling was stifling. Of all the members wrapped up in the performance, only Kami, on stage playing drums, showed an expression of sadness. It looked like even tears were welling up on his face." While recording No Pains No Gains, Kami used a welded pipe as an instrument. Kami and Yuki had stage fright, which might be a reason why Yuki didn't continue his music career following Malice Miser's hiatus. They did not like to be alone on stage. According to one anecdote, during a fan club tour in 1999, Kami got scared and ran off stage, quote, leaving Yuki shaking and stammering. The instrumental track Saikai no Chitobara of Malice Miser's Bara no Saido is dedicated to Kami. The promotional video for it features a lot of spider imagery. The reason for it is the fact that Kami had died of subarachnoid hemorrhage, and spiders are an order of arachnids. The arachnoid mater is named that way because it resembles a spider web. The Japanese name for subarachnoid hemorrhage also has the word spider in it. There used to exist a memorial page for Kami under the address ukyo-kamimura.gontosoon.org, created by Christine Shelley on July 5, 2009. It included a biography of Kami, and users visiting it were able to leave candles for Kami and upload photos of him. On the Wayback Machine there is only one capture of this website, taken on October 31st, 2009. On that day the page had 1188 visitors, 40 candles and 743 photos. Unfortunately the photos page wasn't archived. Monkey Man was the nickname given to Kami by Koji. He nicknamed him this due to his, quote, childish behavior and constant jumping around. Kami is not to be confused with the Monkey Man of Delhi. There's probably like one person watching this who will know what I just referenced. According to the 77 Malice Miser fun facts, quote, Kami believed in reincarnation and he believed he was a Russian girl who was stabbed in the eye by her own mother in the winter over bread. I did not manage to find where exactly this info originated from. The closest thing I could find was an interview in which, when asked, "What do you think you were in previous life?" Kami responds that he was a Russian. The earliest mention of the stabbed Russian girl story I found was on a 2005 Scape forums thread. Then I found an archived GeoCities page which provided more details on the story. In the past life, Kami was born as a Russian girl 480 years ago on the snowy month of February. He was a mischievous girl who would snack on the cheese which his mother made, and his mother punished him by stabbing him in the eye with an ice pick. Being stabbed in the eye was the oldest memory which Kami has. Still, I did not find the original source of this story. I am not saying it's made up, I just wasn't able to trace it back to its origins. Kami was interested in Japanese history. He was quoted saying, "I was not interested in the history itself. When I was in elementary school, I read Japanese history in cartoon, but I didn't like it because it was not so comprehensible. Then I happened to watch the TV program on National Broadcasting Channel which dealt with the captain of all Japanese army, and I was so impressed by it that I kept watching it every week. I guess I was attracted to the dandyism in which one man pursues taking over the country." His two favorite military commanders were Takeda Shingen and Date Masamune. His favorite period of Japanese history was the period following the 15th century Unin War. When asked if he had some frightening experiences with the spiritual world, Kami responded, "I wouldn't call them frightening. To give an example, before a life at the Nippon Budokan, my grandmother died. When I was really sick and had to go to the hospital, I heard her voice in my dreams. Don't come here yet, it's too early for you. I've had a lot of such experiences. Right when we got to the Nippon Budokan, I had a dream with my dog I have at home. At first he was happy to see me, running around and barking, but suddenly his face became sad as he walked around, and just like that he stopped moving. I woke up and couldn't stop crying. Something may have happened, I thought, and called home. I found out my grandmother had just died." In a 2016 blog post discussing Kami, Mana wrote, "In Malice Miser photoshoots he would turn over my skirt when I would wear miniskirts. Kami was a mischievous pubescent boy. It was an innocent type of act, so it was somewhat sweet." Kami cut his trademark long hair in 1988. Initially, when he was asked about the reason for doing so, he laughed and replied, "When I play the drums, it always gets in my way." But in an interview sometime later, when asked about cutting his hair, he said, "There's a deep meaning behind it, but I want to keep it to myself, so I will not say what it means in public." As he died shortly after that, there's no way for us to know whether he was just fooling around or if there were some truly deep, maybe emotional reasons for cutting his hair. There's an interview in which Malice Miser members express their views on homosexuality. In an English translation of it, Kami says, "I don't know how I came to like men. Everyone, I don't know when or how I woke up to this." Because of the translation being a bit off, we can't say for certain what exactly Kami meant by this, and if he truly liked men or not. There's a whole thread on the Scaves forum about this. While looking for info on Kami's beliefs regarding reincarnation, I stumbled upon something interesting. On the Scave forums in 2006, user Kazuo left a comment saying, "There was some girl on Soulsea who claimed that she would have visions of Kami in the shower and cry." User Nekoi responded to this saying, "That's even funnier than the girl who thinks she's the reincarnation of Kami, even though she was born like 10 years before his death." And I instantly remembered that Wang, in his Visual Kei Fansites video, mentioned a story of a girl on LiveJournal who thought she's a reincarnation of Hide of X-Japan despite being born before his death, and she would post photos of herself dressed like him and she would send faxes or something to Yoshiki. And I'm pretty sure that I've heard him mention the story again in one of his other videos or live streams, and he said that he was looking for this girl's blog but wasn't able to find it, but he's also not sure if it was actually about Hide or someone else, if I recall correctly. So, could he have misremembered it and it was actually about Kami? Or is this just a coincidence and this was some other girl completely unrelated to the Hide one? I don't know, please let me know in the comments if the story rings a bell and you have some more info on this. And that would be it for this video. Out of every video I've made, this one was probably the most difficult for me. Not because it was difficult to research, but because it made me kinda emotional. The more I read, I couldn't help but feel pretty sad for Kami. But what also moved me was how beautifully the Malice Miser members commemorated him. Once again, thank you to Haitani, Mabelhani, Remilgia, Big Body Igor and Canary Casey for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.